Hello, I'm IsaSilver. I'm a 6'2" splenic manifestor, born and conditioned in Oregon, and now living in Baja, Mexico. And one of the things that I do here is I prepare to teach a Living Your Design workshop to manifestors. And I was doing that yesterday when I dropped into Facebook for a minute and saw that the subject I was working on was being discussed in a thread in the Manifestor group there. And so I said, hey, I was working on something for this, I might share this video. So I'm making this for students, and maybe it's going to go further. We'll see if I can do it in one take. So the subject is Manifestor informing, and what the heck is it? And I have been confused on this topic. I can see now that I was misinformed on this topic. Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation on Facebook about human design. And so now that I have some education from the International Human Design School and some experience, but less than 5 years, I can see that a lack of education prevented me from understanding what the Manifestor strategy is and why Ra put it out there. And I can see now the mechanics behind it. And so now that I can see the mechanics behind it, I have a context for the confusion that I used to have. So for the sake of my students and anybody else who might get to see this, let's go for it. As far as human design from Ra Uruhu is concerned, the strategy that is set forth is simply inform before you act. So this implies that the decision to act has already gone through authority, and it assumes that the people informed are the people affected by the decision. Okay? So this isn't what the first manifestor that introduced me to human design told me. He was all about putting out his information about what he thought was interesting and important out into the world. It's not that. It's not that manifestors aren't here to communicate. It's not that we're not here for outer authority. But informing is not telling. And we'll get into telling pretty soon, because I had to learn the difference between informing and telling. Okay? So just to be clear again, the only thing that human design says is before you act according to your authority, inform those that are impacted. That's it. Okay? Now, human design, in the schooling level won't tell you that that's political and not mechanical, but yet if you learn the mechanics, you'll understand why. And that's what I wanted to share now, because just yesterday, I kind of figured out, by talking about aura, why the strategies are the way they are for the different types. And so by sharing this, I'm hoping other manifestors might understand informing in context and why it's political and not mechanical. So let's talk about the auras, right? Because our type comes out of our aura. Sure wish that was taught more and earlier. Our type comes out of our aura. So manifestor aura here, right? It's closed, it's repelling, and if you can't deal with that, get out of human design, okay? You can just stop right now and just decide that you don't believe that. And you could decide to not verify it, because nobody in human design is telling you to believe that your aura is closed and repelling, but you have the chance to verify it if you want to. If you just want to believe whatever you want to, there's that. But in my process of verifying my aura, now I have a respect for the mechanics of other auras also that, seems good for me. So here's something that I want to point out. For the other types, their strategy is protecting them. Okay? We have an aura that protects us from other people and homogenization. They have an aura that doesn't protect them that way, and so their strategy protects them. And let me try to explain that quickly. In contrast to our closed, repelling aura, the generator aura is open and enveloping. It's porous. Life is coming at it all the time. So for the generator, the question is, what's correct for the generator? And the generator has this onboard system, their sacral center, that makes sounds, and when life says, hey, generator, would you like to do X? And the generator's sacral center says, then there's a matchup of frequency there, and the generator is set up for satisfaction from that use of that generator's energy. So for that generator, the strategy of waiting to respond gave that generator the chance to meet the right frequency and put her life force power into something that was correct for her, that will be satisfying for her. If she decides with her mind what she's going to put her life force power into, that's what leads to frustration. So that's the story I want to say. This waiting to respond is a protection for the generator. Completely similar for the projector, okay? The projector's not here to initiate from mind what the projector is going to guide. Okay, but when the projector is waiting for the invitation, and then is recognized, given what it needs to do the guiding, that's what makes the projector come alive. Leading with the mind is going to lead to bitterness for the projector. So reflector's got his own stories, but I want you to see that strategy protects those types from homogenization, from bitterness, from frustration. But it's different for the manifestor, because the manifestor's already protected. We are already insulated from those things that would otherwise affect us by our closed aura. So when we've decided that we are going to move our dense thing around, if we tell people, hey, my power is coming, then it gives them a chance to get out of the way, or watch, or whatever, but it's letting them know what's happening for you. It's not protecting you, except maybe you could say it's protecting the manifestor from bad publicity, okay? So it's public relations. Do you get that? It's political and not mechanical. Now, manifestors, besides informing those who they would impact, and that's what I'm saying about human design. The only thing that human design clearly says from the Ra Uru Hu school of human design is inform those who might be impacted, and life is going to go easier. So it's not a rule. You understand that? There are no rules. But it's a strategy that we can apply to make things a little easier. Now, there's another strategy that Ra suggests to manifestors. I think this happens in the manifesto and in other places. But he says with manifestors, don't ask me, don't tell me, inform me. Now, this is coming to the manifestor. This is the instruction that says, dear manifestors, if you want other people to get along with you better in your life, let them know that you're not here to be asked, you're not here to be told, but you do like to receive information. This is information coming in. This is a different thing, okay? And yet, why is there this don't ask me, don't tell me thing? Well, this has to do with the independence of the manifestor. The manifestor who is asked is being demanded upon. And that's not what we're here to be. We're not here to be demanded upon. Okay? Telling. Marianne Winiger, she had put out a video about this sometime. I wish I could give you more details, but I think she's the first person who helped me understand what telling is. And boy, do I verge on that a lot. Yeah, I do. But telling is, it's giving facts, it's giving information that you, the speaker, want the other to receive, not necessarily that the receiver wants to receive. So in relationships with manifestors, people who would want to interact with manifestors on their correct energetic terms would understand that the manifestor doesn't want information that's not relevant to her. But she does want information that is relevant to her, okay? And so that's where the person who interacts with the manifestor needs to pause for a moment and go, is this information that the manifestor is open to? And that's something that I tell a lot of people is, hey, I'm open to be receiving information on that topic, okay? I don't want to be told about your vacation last week unless I bring it up. But if we're talking about a particular this or that, I might say, keep me informed about that. And that information is well received when I put that out there. So manifestors who would ask for that in their own lives would be well to apply that as well, okay? And not telling and not asking others, right? Now, all of this is kind of hard and fast manifestor mechanics. And, I remember reading about Ra's disappointment with manifestors. He once got to finally teach a group of manifestors in a room, and I forget what year it was. He said this happened, but he was looking forward to it, and he was, did he say disappointed? He felt, he didn't feel the manifestor power that he maybe thought that he would. He felt a rather disappointing vibe, or a beaten down vibe, or something like that. And, well, what can I say? What do I want to say about that? I want to say that I want to encourage manifestors to really do this. Put out don't ask me, don't tell me, inform me, and see what happens. Because here's how I see it. And I'll talk about micro-informing too, okay? So, if you're a manifestor that's accepting telling from everyone, and you are responding to asking, well, then you're using up your limited amount of energy for things that are not uniquely you. And if you really want to differentiate, if you really want to find out what you are as a manifestor, then you got to stop doing generator things. And you got to stop doing projector things. You got to stop responding and waiting for invitations. Which, by the way, I know very well I've been doing my whole life, like I wanted to respond to people, that's what other people do, right? But every time that I use my energy in response, I'm not doing something original that was just for me. And if you've read, what Genoa Bliven wrote about what is a manifestor, we're here to do original things. But we've spent decades of our life under homogenizing forces that weren't designed to allow our unique thing to come out. And we learned to communicate and receive communication in ways that weren't lined up with us being our unique thing, our unique differentiated self. So we lose our manifestor powers. This is the way I see it. When we respond and when we wait for invitations and we don't play by our own rules and we play by the homogenized rules, then we're giving up our opportunity to bring something unique into the world that only our imprinting could bring. So but that's kind of hard, isn't it? Because then it's like, Well, you have to be all alone then. Well, I'm going to die alone. Now, I did write microinforming here because I like this concept. This was just introduced to me as a phrase through someone in the Manifestor group there. And I like what she said. It seems really practical. This is the kind of informing that helps put others around us at ease. Okay? So, hey honey, I'm going outside to whatever. Turn off the sprinklers. Or this is the proactive informing of family members or other people about what's going on in your life because, you've been a manifestor alone in your bubble. Great. But yeah, micro-informing can make things easier for all the people around you. But I would encourage the manifestor to understand that the energy that you spend micromanaging other people's expectations of you is energy spent on other people and not your own unique manifestations. So much of what we understand, this is speaking from manifestors generally, that are in the deconditioning process. So much of what we understand, our own productivity and giving to the world to be, it's stuff that came out of our minds and was powered by generators. Because we live with generators, because they're providing us life force. But that combination, and I'm just totally guilty of this. This is so much of my life, was, I had a mental idea, and then there was generator power to fuel it, and things happened. But they weren't unique out of me kinds of things. And this process of deconditioning, which requires things like managing communication with other people, this deconditioning is clearing out gunk on my windows, we can say, in my open centers, and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. The last 2 years have changed. So the rate of change in the last 2 years has been so unpredictable to me. But that openness, that potential for the future, and my confidence in myself as a manifestor, being able to interact with others in a way that works for me and for them, and leaves me with all of my energy and leaves them with only the impact that I naturally shared. It's a really interesting process.